All right, it's time for the third edition of Trucking by the Numbers. This is where I put it on the glass and show you what I'm making as a lease driver at Christenson Transportation. Remember, this is a variable lease. I pay a fixed cost every week, regardless of whether the truck moves. That's a small amount. And then I pay 43 cents per dispatched mile for a full maintenance lease. Without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, load number one went from Mount Juliet, Tennessee to Atlanta, Georgia. There were 227 empty miles for $208.75, 252 loaded miles for $315. The fuel rebate was $138.60, and the market surcharge was $7.56. The load paid $669 or $266 per loaded mile. Load number two this week went from Atlanta, Georgia to Lebanon, Tennessee. Had 0 empty miles, 249 loaded miles for $311. Fuel rebate was $135, and the market surcharge was $7.47. Total revenue for the load was $453. That's $1.82 per loaded mile. The third load for the week went from Lebanon, Tennessee to Lexington, Kentucky. There were 0 empty miles, 201 loaded miles for $251.25. The fuel rebate was $109, and the market surcharge was $6.03. The load paid $366 or $1.82 per loaded mile. Load number four went from Louisville, Kentucky to Miami, Oklahoma. Had 186 empty miles, $107. 574 loaded miles, $717. Fuel rebate was $311. Market surcharge, $17.22. The load paid $11.53 for $201 per loaded mile. The fifth load this week, yes, the fifth load, went from Stafford, Missouri to Lebanon, Tennessee. 0 empty miles, 462 loaded miles for $577. Fuel rebate was $250. Market surcharge, $13.86. A load paid $842 or $1.82 per loaded mile. The sixth and final load for this week went from Lebanon, Tennessee to Edwardsville, Illinois. 0 empty miles, 351 miles for $438. Fuel rebate was $190, and the market surcharge was $10.53. The load paid $373 or $1.86 per loaded mile. I purchased fuel twice during this compensation period. The first time at Calhoun, Georgia. I bought 149 gallons. The pump price was $4.68. I got that fuel for $3.99, which was a 69.9-cent savings. The second time was at Rolla, Missouri. I bought 100 gallons. Pump price was $4.78.9, and I got it for $4.166, which was 62.3-cent savings. Now we take a look at the logs for the week. The reason we look at the logs is so we can see those miles and see how they really added up. I had 2721 actual logged miles. My odometer was 2726 miles. And 2,502 were dispatched miles. Dispatched miles are loaded and empty miles. The reason you'd have a discrepancy between the logged miles and dispatched miles is because maybe I went a different route than the dispatched miles would have went, and also could have been from when I went home and things of that nature. Now we look at the fixed costs. The reason they're called fixed costs is because they're the same. They're always fixed. These also do have the sign-on bonuses on there, which offset the performance bond escrow and the security deposit on the tractor. The variable lease was $1,071.56, 2,492 loaded and empty miles. This week I had to have one paid parking place. It was $20. That was at Paducah, Kentucky Pilot. I had 2 loads that I had to weigh, and one of those loads required a reweigh after moving the axle. Time for the summary page where we wrap it all up. There were 6 loads, 413 empty miles, 2,089 loaded miles. That gives us a total of 2,502 total miles. 83.5% were loaded. That's pretty good. 417 miles per load average. Keep in mind, I am a regional driver. The revenue was $316 for empty miles, $26.11 for loaded miles. Nothing for detention this week. I wasn't detained. $62.67 for a market surcharge, $11.35 for fuel rebate, and $150 sign-on bonus giving us a total of $4,275.35 total revenue. Expenses, $10.71 for the variable lease, $2.26 for fixed expenses, $10.10 for diesel fuel, $33 for DEF, $150 in deposits, $1.50 in comm data fees, $29.50 for scales, $20 for paid parking, for a total of $2,543.86 in expenses. That gives us a net of $1,731.49 for this week. You saw this week I added in a few things. I added in the scales, I added in the parking, and I added in the DEF. Trying to give you guys the most accurate picture so that you can estimate. Now, I'm not telling you that Christenson is the company that you should come to. I'm just giving you general numbers of what I'm doing. You should look at this and you should think about it, because every company that you're looking at, these expenses are going to be there. You're going to have fixed expenses. You're going to have variable expenses. You're going to have fuel. You're going to have your revenue is going to be broken into categories. And all of it has to be taken into account when you look at it and start thinking about, is this the place I want to go? It's easy for somebody to cherry pick a really good settlement and show it to you and say, look, you'll make $2,500 a week. You'll make $3,000 a week. I made $8,000 in revenue. It all looks good when you hear that, but you got to look at the whole picture. Revenue is not the whole picture. Expenses are not the whole picture. Take a look at it, and if you have any questions, be sure to ask them. We'll talk about this again next week. Remember, after the screen, you'll see pay statements, the actual pay statements themselves.